Donald Trump just made a stunning and frankly incriminating admission that I believe is an impeachable offense in the Oval Office. He just held a press conference moments ago where he said that nobody knew that Iran was going to strike Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were caught utterly surprised by this. Who would have ever expected this? If that's truly the case, Donald, you deserve to be impeached immediately on that statement alone. Frankly, you deserve to be impeached for all of the things you've done before, and you deserve to be behind bars. But here's what Donald Trump said moments ago. Let's play it.
Thank you. You were talking about Iran a couple times today and what they did after Epic Fury began. You said they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit. They were, I wouldn't say friendly countries. They were like neutral. They lived with them for years. Peter, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were going to knock out Israel with their nuclear weapon. But after we knocked out their nuclear potential weapon, they started building missiles, thousands and thousands of missiles. And they were going to do it with missiles while they developed. These are sick people. While they developed nuclear, somehow they were going to start at a different site because that site was, you saw the site, the mountain. They were going to go into a certain area, which we know exactly where it is, and they were going to do that. And it's incredible what we've done. I tell you, the job we've done. You know, if I didn't tell...
Now talk about impeachable offenses or just the most disgusting things imaginable that could come out of the mouth of anybody in the Oval Office. Donald Trump then starts to talk about Cuba and goes, it's a beautiful island. I'm going to take it. I'm just going to take it. It's mine. I will do whatever I want. As the war in Iran is spiraling out of control, Donald Trump now saying that he will take over Cuba as Donald Trump continues to try to distract from the Epstein files. Here, play this clip.
It's a beautiful island, great weather. They're not in a hurricane zone, which is nice for a change, you know. They won't be asking us for money for hurricanes every week. But I think Cuba's the end. You know, all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. You know, when will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now. They were for a long time. Very violent leaders. Castro was a very violent leader. His brother's a very violent leader. Extremely violent. That's how they governed. They governed with violence. But a lot of people would like to go back.
Okay. And meanwhile, in Iran, their kind of main commander in the field is out there putting out messages that the outcome of the war cannot be determined by tweets. They're mocking Donald Trump's behavior. Let's play this clip right here.
A message to the President of the United States. The outcome of war cannot be determined by tweets. The result of a war is determined in the field, the very place where you and your forces do not dare to approach, and you can only talk about it in your tweets. It's better to name this war as Epic Fear instead of Epic Fury.
Next, Peter Doocy from State Regime Media, which calls itself Fox, asked Donald Trump if this war can be wrapped up in a week, as though, okay, I'll wrap it up. You do realize that Iran is saying that they're not even having discussions with you at all, and that you are all out there lying and saying that there are conversations between Witkoff and the foreign minister of Iran is saying, yeah, those aren't happening. So embarrassing. Here, play this clip.
For noticing.
Congratulations.
Can I ask you another question about the war? If Iran, as you said, totally obliterated, got the missiles, got the first 2 rounds of leadership, Air Force gone, Navy gone, can we wrap this war up this week?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Will we?
I don't think so, but it'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up. It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to have a much safer world.
Next, Donald Trump is saying that we're doing slightly better than Jimmy Carter in Iran. Donald Trump's like, he thinks he's funny. He thinks he's doing jokes right now. Here, let's play this clip.
Americans are a lot of times calling in, where's my ballot? Where's my ballot? They're lucky to get one. Jimmy Carter, probably the greatest thing he ever did. I thought he was a nice man, not a great president, to put it mildly. How did his attack work out in Iran? Not too good. I think ours is slightly better, wouldn't you say? But Jimmy Carter.
Then Donald Trump says that China should be thanking us. They should be helping us. Donald, China is allied with Iran. You do realize that. China is helping Iran militarily. Iran is saying that publicly. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, you say you're doing a job for the rest of the world. In your conversations with your counterparts, are they thanking you? What are their conversations like when you talk about this military conflict that's taking place in Iran?
Well, they should be thanking me because many of them get 90%. China, as an example, should be thanking us, but I don't expect to thank you, but they should be thanking us. Japan gets 95%, China 91%. Many of the countries, South Korea gets a tremendous percentage of their oil and therefore their energy from the Straits, or as they call it, the Strait. And they should be not only thanking us, they should be helping us. What does surprise me is that they're not eager to help. There are a couple. We'll be announcing some names soon. There are some that really were right up front. I would announce their name now, other than maybe they prefer it not being announced for whatever reason. I will say this: it's a lot easier to get people today than it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, before we destroyed before we obliterated the country, before we took out, because they're down to about 8% of their missiles. They're down to a small portion of their drones. And we've demolished many of their factories where they make the missiles and the drones, and the rest are all following. Our military has been amazing. We hit cars.
Next, a reporter asked J.D. Vance, who's standing right next to Donald Trump, that given your past skepticism of foreign interventionism, are you completely on board with the war in Iran? And J.D. Vance was like, well, I was against it when everybody was stupid. But this guy right here, Donald, he's so smart, so now I'm for it. Here, play this clip.
Second, given your past skepticism of foreign adventurism, are you completely on board with the current war in Iran?
So I like fraud czar. It's certainly what we're going to do. And look, we have to do it. As the president said, this is a problem that has festered in this country for far too long, and far too few people have actually wanted to do anything about it. That's what makes this administration different, is that we actually tackle the problems the American people have been confronting. So I'm very happy about it. And look, I think that I know what you're trying to do, Phil. You're trying to drive a wedge between members of the administration, between me and the president. What the president said consistently, going back to 2015, and I agreed with him, is that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. We have taken this military action under the president's leadership. I think all of us, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, should pray for its success and pray for the safety of our troops. That's the approach that I've taken. Make it as successful as possible.
So there's no hesitation, given your past statements, with the current operation?
What do you mean there's no hesitation with my past statements?
Given your skepticism of foreign adventurism, you were a critic of the global war on terror previously.
Well, I think one big difference, Phil, is that we have a smart president, whereas in the past we've had dumb presidents. And I trust President Trump to get the job done, to do a good job for the American people, and to make sure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. Absolutely.
Thanks, sir.
Look, JD's been great.
In addition, just so you see what was happening earlier as well, we've got receipts of this. Donald Trump was also saying what I showed you at the beginning, at the prior press conference before going to the Oval Office, that none of this was supposed to happen. Iran wasn't supposed to hit its neighbors. This caught everybody by surprise. The Arab nations warned this. Your generals and admirals warned you of this. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs warned you of this. I knew about this months ago. We've been reporting on it here in the MeidasTouch network, that this is what would happen. So we told you about it. Play this clip.
And power. Look what happened. In the last 2 weeks, they weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked.
But at the same time, Donald Trump is claiming that no one knew this was going to happen. In the prior press conference, he also says, I knew the Strait of Hormuz would be used as a weapon. I predicted this a long time ago. And Trump goes, I also predicted bin Laden. I predicted when 9/11 was going to happen. Read my book. Your book doesn't say that. Your book has a passing reference to bin Laden. You literally lie about everything. Here, play this clip.
I knew about straight that it would be a weapon, which I predicted a long time ago, predicted all of this stuff. You guys were very generous in that. I predicted all of it. I predicted Osama bin Laden would knock out the World Trade Center. I made that prediction a year before he did it. I said, you better get him. He's a bad guy. I watched him be interviewed one time, and I said, that's a bad guy. You better get him. 1 year before, exactly. I wrote it in a book. You can even check about a year before the World Trade Center then came down. President Clinton actually had a shot at him, and he didn't take it. Unfortunately, I'm not blaming him for that, but he didn't take it. And he ended up knocking down the World Trade Center, but I predicted that too. I predicted a lot of things. We strongly encourage.
Now, one thing Donald Trump's been saying over and over again today is that he's been speaking with a former president, but he refuses to say who it is who has been saying, you're doing a great job, Donald, as Aaron Parnas writes. So when Trump says he's talking to a former president who says he wished he bombed Iran, what are the odds that Donald Trump is talking to the 45th president, meaning that Donald Trump is just talking about himself right now? Also, going back to that Oval Office press conference, Donald Trump continued to just randomly attack Gavin Newsom. Play this clip.
Gavin Newsom admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at the audience and said, but I'm smarter than you, or something like that. That was pretty similar. So now on top of everything else, I call him a racist because it happened to be a black audience. I will tell you this. I think it was the worst interview I've ever seen of any human being in my life.
Because I called him a racist, and here Donald Trump says that Gavin Newsom admitted that he has learning disabilities. Dude, what are you talking about? We're at war right now. This is what you're talking about? I mean, trying to mock Governor Newsom for standing up to you, and by talking about disabilities in that way, what are you even saying? You're just out of control. Here, play this clip.
That's how crazy it's gotten with a low IQ person, because Gavin Newsom has admitted that he has learning disabilities. Honestly, I'm all for people with learning disabilities, but not for my president. I think a president should not have learning disabilities, okay? And I know it's highly controversial to say such a horrible thing. The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at the audience and said, but I'm smarter than you, or something like that. That was pretty similar. So now on top of everything else, I call him a racist because it happened to be a black audience. I will tell you this. I think it was the worst interview I've ever seen of any human being in my life.
A few other points that we need to mention as well. A new report from the Washington Post indicates that a number of troops injured during Operation Epic Fury, which I call Epstein Fury, or as you heard the Iranian guys say, Epic Fail or Epic Fear. It's now surpassed 200, according to a spokesperson for CENTCOM. 10 are still in very serious condition, although I think the Trump regime is not giving us accurate information. I think that the numbers are higher. Also, the U.S. Embassy and the Royal Tulip Al Rashid Hotel in Baghdad were targeted in separate incidents earlier today. So far, no group has claimed responsibility, but they are believed to be Iranian attacks, and you can see them for yourself right there. The foreign minister of Iran is saying, my last contact with Mr. Witkoff was prior to his employer's decision to kill diplomacy with another illegal military attack on Iran. Any claim to the contrary appears geared solely to mislead oil traders and the public, and this is in response to the Trump regime saying that they've been opening up direct communications with the foreign minister, and the foreign minister says this is total and utter lies. We'll keep you posted every step of the way here. Hit subscribe, help us get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.